Hi everyone. Today's video I'll be looking at the project that was just released by Equity, which is called Kargo. So here you can see a brief explanation of what Kargo does. So it's like a continuous delivery platform that is built to support GitOps projects like ArgoCD. And the beauty of this is that you can use this to promote your application deployment from one stage to the other stage. So apparently I can't really go through all the details or a good intro of what Kargo does. There are a lot of other resources on YouTube and then on the in the documentation, so you can check that out. But after seeing this, I decided to see how we can use it to manage like a 5G core deployment, whereby you have like a basic stage of maybe dev and prod. So in this video I'm going to quickly show you how this will look like and what I was able to learn from the current release of Kargo. So this will be the architecture we'll be looking at. So for instance, you will see here that we have ArgoCD, we have two applications, right? So we have OpenFaaS Kargo Dev and then one prod. And then Kargo will now be the one that will actually manage the life cycle of these applications. So you see we have two stages in Kargo, which is the dev stage and the prod stage. And each of those stages is actually linked to different Kubernetes cluster. So the dev stage will be connected to the in cluster, which is named like this, and then the prod stage will be in the Kargo cluster 1. So if we go to our ArgoCD, we'll actually see that we already have if you go under settings here, you see under clusters, you see that we have two clusters. So one in cluster, which is within where the ArgoCD is running, and another one which is actually different. So you can see here that they are actually different clusters. So at the end, the reason for having the two clusters is just to simulate how it will be in a real setting. So once you first of all create this application, the ArgoCD application, then like I said, Kargo will now manage it, and part of the part of the promotion steps that it's going to do, it's actually going to use a analysis template which is based on Argo rollout. So what the analysis template will be doing actually is to use OpenFaaS function. So I wrote an OpenFaaS function that will first of all do a GNodeB scaling. After the GNodeB scaling is successful and checking for relevant logs. For instance, the successful logs of connecting to to the AMF, then it's going to do the UE scaling. So why I call this a scaling is that by default, once these applications are deployed, the UERANSIM GNodeB deployment and the UE deployment are actually scaled down to 0. So essentially they are not running. So it's actually the OpenFaaS function that will actually scale them to 1, and then that will trigger them to connect to the 5G core. And once this is so like I said, that's why we have the arrow coming down to the UERANSIM GNodeB and UE. So essentially we are combining several projects just to make this to work. ArgoCD, Kargo, then also we have the Argo rollout, which will manage the analysis, and then this analysis at the end of the day, analysis template is that will actually create a job, a Kubernetes job. So, and that job will now run the OpenFaaS function. So if we check, each of the clusters have the OpenFaaS as they have the functions already deployed. So you can see this for the dev cluster.1. So you can see the GNodeB scaling and then the UE scaling, and then for the prod you can see this is .11. So you also have the GNodeB scaling and the UE scaling. So what that means is that anytime we promote the deployment or the stages, it will actually run some verification, and the verification will call the OpenFaaS functions. So you can see this is the cargo. You can see we don't have any project currently. So the first thing we need to do is to create the ArgoCD application, so we can quickly see how that will look like. So you see here that we have the ArgoCD. I mean, the application. You can see here, this is I named it OpenFaaS Cargo Dev. So we are using an M chart, and this is the location of the M chart. We are using GitOps, and then first of all we are starting with the version 0.0.1. This 0.0.1 actually points out to, maps to the OpenFaaS 2.71, and we'll start with the 0.0.1, which will use Cargo to actually use it to manage the version of the charts. So you see here where I'm also using, like, giving it like the values.yaml file here inline. So you see some of the multus values here, and then if you also see here that we are giving it a, so there should be an annotation whereby we say that it will actually allow Cargo to manage it. So I'm trying to look for that annotation. So maybe I think I have it on the system. So let's see quickly. No. So let me quickly check on the. Okay, yeah. So I have now updated my my VS Code. So you can see this is the application. So what I was saying is, if you don't add this annotation to it to say that, okay, this is what you actually point this to the Cargo stage for that will be managing this application. If this one is not configured, it will not. You get a permission error, which will say that, okay, Cargo is not able to manage this application. And then you see that this actually maps to a name in our Cargo manifest. So before we move on, let's see what we have in the prod. So we can see also in the prod, you can see here that the reason, just to make it a bit interesting, you can see that we have a different multus interface here, and the dev has a different multus interface, and then the IP addressing are quite different. And also you still see that we have the Cargo annotation here to show that we want this to be managed by the Cargo prod stage. So if we go to our Cargo manifest, you can see if we go to the stage, you can see it to the stage. So you can see that this actually maps to what we have in the annotation that I just showed you. So you can see this is the namespace Cargo telco then :dev. So like I said, it's the same thing that you have here. You can see this is Cargo telco then prod, and this is for dev. So that's part of it. So let's kickstart. First of all, we'll create the OpenFaaS, the ArgoCD applications, but to save time, let's just apply both all the things we'll be running. So we've created the Cargo and then the ArgoCD application. So if we go to the if we refresh, we'll actually see now that yes, we have let's see, okay. So we have Cargo, we have dev, and then we have prod. So essentially what, like I said, I'm trying to maximize this to make it readable. So yeah, you can see that we have dev and prod, and then you have where we have the Helm chart. So if we go to ArgoCD here, we can actually see that we have the different applications. So you can see dev and prod. You can see if we go back to Kargo, you see actually prod is linked to dev. So if you don't deploy to dev first, you can't promote prod. So if you click on to promote to stage, you can see that this version, this is not highlighted for you to deploy. But if you click on dev and you click on this, so if you click on dev and then you click on this, you can see that I say, do you want to? So once you promote to dev, then it will then the prod, you'll be able to also promote to prod. So, and to show you how that's also configured, so we can check from the Kargo manifest. So you see the dev stage, the source is direct through. Then if you come to the prod, you can see that the source is the dev stage. So you have to first of all do this in dev first, and then it will now show up, and then you'll be able to promote it to prod also. So if we see that this is still out of sync, if we now go to the Kargo and then click on, then we say yes. Immediately we do this. If we go back to ArgoCD, we can see here that the application is now progressing. And if we do a watch on the dev cluster, you can see that the pods are coming up. And once the pods are coming up, then it's going to run the verification. So like I said, the verification is using the analysis template, which is based on Argo rollout, right? So, but all the pod needs to be running first of all, and you can also go through you can follow through the state. I mean how it's going also in Kargo. So you can see here that it says we can actually click on it and see what's going on. So you can see the promotion, it's there, it's successful, and then you can see the verification is still pending, it's running now. So if we go back here, so you can see here that the GNodeB UERANSIM has been initiated. So after this is initiated successfully, then the UE also will now come up. So all this GNodeB and the the UE will be they will be initiated, or they will be triggered using the OpenFaaS function. So what the OpenFaaS function is just doing is it's going to check if these deployments exist. If they exist, it's going to scale them to 1, and then it's going to check if they are done. And then once it's able to get a successful stuff, then it's going to terminate as it's doing now. So if we go back to so if we can see here now that the verification is also successful. If you click on the analysis run, you can click on the you can see UERAN scaling check. You can see 1 successful. So, but it will still take a bit of time for it to finish. So it's still confirming everything. So you can see it's still saying progressing. After a while, you get to have it also in ArgoCD that shows that it's LD. But before then, let's see the analysis run itself. So if we go into the Kargo telco, so if you do the analysis template, so all these ones are just for test, but the actual one that we are using is actually the UERAN scaling test, and you can actually check that also in the Kargo manifest. So if you if you go under the verification, you can see here that we're actually using the UERANSIM scaling test. So, and how to also you also have a custom resource called the analysis run. So you can see that was successful. So if you do a describe of that, so you can actually see some of the scripts which we are using to do the tests in terms of calling the OpenFaaS function. And then also you can see here how we are checking for if the GNOD is up. And then also we are also checking after the GNOD is up, then we also check if the UE was able to have a PDU session. And then here you can see that it's saying completed. And by default, since this is also it's actually a Kubernetes job, so if you do a get pods, you actually see that the job is successful. So if you do a logs, then you can see the full logs for that for the verification. So you can see here these are usual logs you see when you work with UERANSIM. So you can see here that you have the ng setup successful, and then here you can see it saying starting the UE setup check, and then you see there that the UE also was able to create a tunnel, which shows that the PDU session was successful. So once the verification finishes, like I said, it's going to scale down the UE and the GNOD B. So if we go back to the UE, to this, you can see here now that it's actually it's LD. So if we go back to Kargo now, we should be able to promote this to prod. Take note, before for prod we could not this was not highlighted for us to promote, but now we can do that. So if we now click on it, we can actually now promote this to prod. And then when we do that, if we go back here, we can see shortly we'll see that okay, it has also triggered it has triggered the ArgoCD application. Then if you come back to, if you go back, this is the prod cluster. So if we do a watch on the pods also, so you can see also here that the pods are coming up, so the AMF, and after this is also done, the verification will also come up. And as part of the verification, like I said, the GNOD B deployment will first of all come up. After it comes up, you can see it's coming up now. It's going to run the check also to make sure that it's able to connect to the AMF. And then after this is done, then the UE pod also will come up to see if it's able to initiate a connection to the 5G core. So we wait a little bit. We'll see shortly. So there is a wait here, like 10 seconds, just to make sure that everything is up and running. So after a while, we should be able to see that the UE, okay, you can see that the UE also is coming up. And then once the UE is successful, like I said, the OpenFaaS function will downscale this back to 0. So we can see that this is also terminating here because the verification has been done. So if we see the prod also, we can actually see that the pods are deployed based on the ArgoCD application. If we come here, we can see that it's still saying it's progressing. So so Kargo also is connected back to ArgoCD, right? So it's monitoring the status of the application. You can see here, since it's still saying progressing, if you come back to here, you can still see it's progressing. So like I said, it's what Kargo is it matches what you have with what you it matches the status of the application in ArgoCD. So if we wait a bit, we can also go into this stage to see. You can see the promotion was successful in terms of the freight here, like we say, like the warehouse is actually the M chart for the M chart that we have configured for this demo. And if you go to the verification again, like I said, you can see, you can click on the analysis run. You can see that it's also successful. So this is just a summary. So you can also double check this from the YAML file. So you can see here that this is also the script you see when you run it from the command line. So you can see we are calling the OpenFaaS function here. You can see this is UE scaling, and before then we are calling the OpenFaaS, the GNodeB scaler, which is mapped, which was deployed to OpenFaaS. So for this demo, I will not be able to go into the details of the OpenFaaS function, but it's a simple function. What it does, it scales up the GNodeB, like I mentioned, and it will check for a successful return, and then it also manages the UE scaling. And with that is what was done, is now used in conjunction with the analysis template run, which at the back end is being managed by Argo rollout. So let's see if this is done. If we go back to so this is still progressing. Okay, no, so now this is healthy. So if we go back to Kargo, we can see here that the health status is also right, is healthy. So you can see in this demo, I've been able to show how an example of how Kargo can be used to promote to promote the stages for a 5G core application. Of course, the test cases in a live or a production network will be much more than this, but this I think should give a brief overview of how Kargo can be used in a telco environment. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.